Hello Tubies, Dice Rollin here, and in this video I am going to be talking about and making some comparisons to some movie monsters. First I'm going to give you the original monsters, and then Hollywood's version of these monsters, and then what I think these monsters should be like. Now these are my opinions, and if you disagree with them, then that's your own opinion and I will respect it. But your own. Also, I want to make note that it's pretty dark here right now because there is a storm going on outside right now because Mother Nature has a dramatic flare, apparently, and knows exactly when I'm recording. So let's start off with the vampire. Their identification is pretty easy. The drinking of blood, fangs, pale skin, can't be out in the sunlight, etc. So here's the original. Dracula, played by the amazing Bela Lugosi. Granted, he's not the first to play a vampire, and if you wanted to go back even farther, you'd get Nosferatu. But Dracula is certainly one of the more well-known vampires in media history. Now here's Hollywood's version of a vampire. Oh my god, here we go. I know I'm going to get cussed out for this one. The more modern and popular version of the vampire right now seems to be this guy. But quite honestly, he reminds me more of a glittering fairy princess than a vampire. Without getting into a rant, let's just say I'm not very happy with this particular version. So what's my version of a vampire? My idea of a vampire is somewhere between Mitchell from Being Human and Mick St. John from Moonlight. They are cold, blood-sucking killers. But they don't want to be. They have to do this to survive. Plus, I personally like the overall look of their vampire selves. Now that we've covered vampires, how about my favorite monster? The werewolf. Identification usually consists of some sort of negative reaction to silver things, physical and mental transformation during a full moon, and general hairiness. Here's the original. Though once again, he's certainly not the first. Lawrence Talbot was one of the more well-known werewolves of the time. And Lon Chaney Jr. captured the never-ending torment and torture of being a werewolf wonderfully. So how in the ever-loving frack did Hollywood come up with their version? This guy is just as popular as Edward Cullen, which also means I dislike him just as much. I mean, look at this. This is not a werewolf. This is more of a shapeshifter, if anything. This is what I think a werewolf should be. See, they're part wolf, but not all wolf. They need to still have about half of their human element physically in order for me to believe that they really are a werewolf. And I don't know about you, but it's pretty damn important for a werewolf to be pretty unbiased about who they kill. Not to mention that full moon transformation I mentioned before. Another famous monster is the Frankenstein's monster. He's usually pretty easy to identify, what with the dead discolored skin, grotesque stitches, and bolts sticking out of his neck, as well as the delightfully dead-eyed stare. Let's take a look at the original. Boris Karloff is extremely likely to be the first person to pop into your mind when someone says classic monster movies. If not, how dare you? His portrayal of Frankenstein is pretty much what inspired so many other versions that came out after his movies. Most of the time, the response to the monster was horror and fear, as well as a desire to destroy it. I'm not really blaming anybody for that, but I always felt some amount of sympathy for him. With that said, let's take a look at Hollywood's version. Excuse me? What? What? You can't be serious. This is your Frankenstein monster. No. 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 Seriously, this? Where's the sickly green skin? The bolts? The stitches? Something? Now here's my idea of the Frankenstein's monster. The Frankenstein monster is human, essentially, but he's also inhuman in his physicality and mentally is almost completely messed up. In some movies, he's a fully functioning being, and in others, you really have to look for the human element. While this Frankenstein monster speaks well and thinks well, I like the overall look of him. He's trying to be human even if he isn't anymore. Okay, so those are 3 major movie monsters. But what about the witch? Come on, you have got to have seen this coming. Since the many different ways of identifying a witch are constantly changing, let's just jump in and take a look at the original. Now here's a switch. I actually don't like the original image of the witch. The crooked nose, the warts, the green skin, the cackling laugh, and flying monkeys? I'm sure you all know Hollywood's version by now. Honestly, I have very little, if any, problem with this version, surprisingly. As a matter of fact, they are the witches that taught me that witches don't have to be ugly or evil. And my version of a witch? How about the ever-popular ghosts and spirits? Now, I have to say that the categories kind of blur for me here. While most classic ghosts aren't even seen in movies or are simply people overlaid onto the footage, Hollywood has definitely improved upon the idea of a ghost. For me, you can't really go wrong with a representation of a ghost. Whoa, okay, I take it back. And of course, who could forget the ever-popular zombies? I certainly couldn't. As many of you know, I strongly dislike zombies. I can deal with a lot of fracked up shit, but when it comes to zombies, I'm out. And it makes very little difference to me from what decade they're from. But for your benefit, let's take a look at the original. There may not be one particular zombie that pops out at me, but one of the more notable zombie hordes would likely come from the cult classic Night of the Living Dead. It helped to set the way for future zombie movies. We're all very familiar with Hollywood's favorite versions of zombies by now. And if you're not, which rock have you been hiding under? Because I might want to join you. Yeah, we all know the signs. Discolored rotting flesh, most likely falling off bit by bit, stiff walk, most likely drooling, guts hanging out all over the place. Lovely. Is anybody else hungry? Anyway, this is the image of zombies that we're so accustomed to. Zombies have come a long way from voodoo rituals and chocolate syrup blood tricks. In the older movies, if you came across some zombies, you might scream and run away or try to fight with a torch or something. Now, if you came across some of those modern zombies, you're foobar, my friend. Yeah, that's right, I said foobar. Look it up, it's okay, I'll wait. What about my version of a zombie? A dead one. Like, seriously dead. As in, you'd find a little bit over there, up there, way the hell over there, and a little on your shoe. Interestingly enough, I rather like the image of zombies from Warm Bodies. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. You just like them because of R. And that's actually kind of true. I like the whole idea of seeing these apocalyptic events from the zombies' point of view. We always see every movie from the survivors' views. But this was the only movie that I've seen so far that showed you what it was like to be a zombie. Plus, I like the happy ending. Shut up. And I have to admit, some of Hollywood's takes on zombies aren't bad either. Some of them. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was my monster comparison list. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like, leave a comment, share, and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. See you later.